It deeply concerns me that we just keep not learning the lessons. Nancy Pelosi, Frank Wolf, David Bonior and I all opposed MFN for China after Tiananmen Square. George Herbert Walker Bush thought he could manage the whole thing. He was our ambassador to China. And as it turned out, we managed it extraordinarily poorly. Bill Clinton came in and he said, let's link human rights with MFN trade. 1 year later, he delinked it. And the lesson learned by the dictatorship in Beijing was profits trump human rights. We now, and I have tried for 5 years to get my bill passed, our bill, it's a collective bill, House and Senate, bipartisan, and the same people who said just trade more and somehow China will matriculate from dictatorship to democracy have been proven wrong again. And if it wasn't for the great people of Hong Kong standing up so powerfully at a great loss of their liberty, going to prison, being arrested, being harassed, and even killed and tortured, that this Congress needs to wake up and say, finally, at long last, we're going to put conditionality on this. So if you want to speak to that, I would appreciate it. There have been 1,000 arrests since the activities occurred. What is the status of the prosecutions? Joshua, we know your case, but there are many other cases that are in obscurity right now. What is happening to those individuals? And just generally on the police, are the police largely newer recruits who are more ideologically aligned with Beijing, or are they the old hands who have just now become even more repressive than they had been in the past? If you could speak to those things, I would appreciate it.
The prosecutions is related to not only the imposition of the public order, but ordinance. It has to be an unlawful assembly. So the way in which the notice of no objection process contributes to that, that's the tool. And the tool is Hong Kongers then face this ridiculous situation where they have to have the police deny the application for a notice of no objection, file for a group for a peaceful assembly that is to protest police violence. So you have the police denying the notice of no assembly, therefore making it an unlawful assembly, for an assembly that is to protest police violence. So that's really important that through this kind of misuse of that process, they are really violating international standards for peaceful assembly by imposing this kind of unduly restrictive administrative procedure. The police, under this procedure, then can act rampantly as both enforcement, prosecutor, because they're naming this, saying this is a riot. But a riot is a legal process. It's for the court to look at the evidence. It's for the court to see if this person engaged in illegal behavior and violent, et cetera. So right now, the police are acting as enforcement, prosecution, and executioner of orders. And that is part of the problem with looking at when we talk about and on top of that, we have politicized decision-making by the prosecution. This was also noted by independent UN experts maybe 2 years ago, saying that they were concerned about a potential pattern of politicized decisions that were being made and who to prosecute and who to pursue.